of the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I, Selby Nambishan, would like to extend a very warm welcome to all our winners, jury members, dignitaries, esteemed guests, and our respected chief guest, Sri Harish Mehta, author of bestseller The Maverick Effect, founder Onward Technologies Limited, founding member NASSCOM, and founder president TIE Mumbai. I can go on and on. So, it is said that lighting of the lamp amounts to awakening the Atma Jyoti within oneself. Light symbolizes knowledge and wisdom. It shows the path forward. So let us get started by inaugurating the function with the traditional lighting of the auspicious lamp for prosperity and success. May I request our dignitaries, Sri Harish Mehta, author of bestseller The Maverick Effect, founder Onward Technologies Limited, founding member NASSCOM, and founder president TIE Mumbai, Sri Juzar Khorakiwala, President, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, President-elect, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Sri Harish Tibrewala, Chairman, IMC Digital Technology Committee, and Sri Ajit Mangrulkar, Director General, IMC, to come forward for the lighting of the auspicious lamp. We have Mr. Vineet Nair, our Lifetime Achievement Award winner, also joining us. With the positive energies activated by the lighting of the lamp, may I request our dignitaries to take their seats on the dais. President. Thank you. As we begin, I request Sri Ajit Mangrulkar, Director General, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to initiate the session by presenting the introductory address. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very warm welcome to our esteemed chief guest, Sri Harish Mehta, jury members, Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Sri Vineet Nair, participants, awardees, applicants, and media personnel to IMC's Digital Technology Awards 2021. All organizations keeping in mind the current advancements and need of the hour is getting their digital setup in place for uninterrupted workflow and smooth process functioning. Pandemic has actually made us ponder and implement digital solutions that has kept the nation's economy ticking even when total lockdown was imposed. Smooth functioning of business by enabling remote, secure working and providing maximum reach to consumer and clients to carry on business has today become the norm of functioning due to the digital connect that was established through the digital solutions available and their smart implementations. With the explosion of digital solutions and infrastructure during these lockdown times, we have refined and redefined the way businesses are running, and the future is going to be more and more technology driven with least manual intervention as possible. We at IMC have always made an effort to keep our members abreast with the latest in this field and have brought out these transformation in our own functioning by going online up to the last mile. IMC seeks out thought leaders to identify today's needs and catalyze the achievement of tomorrow's vision. Set up in 1907 in the wake of the Swadeshi movement to represent Indian businesses, IMC is a premier chamber of trade and commerce and industry in India. As digitization and its usage is the buzzword these days, IMC is pleased to recognize entities and individuals who have contributed immensely in making our lives convenient through adaptation of technology. The IMC Digital Technology Awards recognizes and rewards the accomplishments of the IT industry's innovations and digital transformation of organizations across a varied spectrum. The winners are selected in the large and small categories wherever applicable by an esteemed panel of jury. I congratulate all the winners of the award and the Certificate of Merit, and especially the Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Shri Vineet Nair, for his achievements and contributions towards the digital society. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mangrolkar. May I now invite Shri Jizar Khorakiwala, President, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Harish Mehta, Mr. President-elect Anand Singhania, Mr. Harish Tibrewala, Chairman of the Digital Committee, Mr. Vineet Nair, members of the jury, awardees, and participants and applicants. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. On behalf of the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all our distinguished guests, media representatives, and the award winners to the IMC Digital Technology Awards 2021. In particular, I extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Shri Harish Mehta, and thank him for sparing his valuable time to grace this occasion and motivate all our winners. It is indeed a proud moment for the IMC Chamber of Commerce to organize the 7th cycle of Digital Technology Awards function, which this year is back to the physical format after a long pause due to the pandemic, wherein we had to host it virtually last year. We are grateful to all the participants for responding in huge numbers with quality applications, and especially to the government sector, who have implemented great projects for good governance, which will go a great way in establishing transparency and ease of doing business in India in the near future. These awards are very much in line with the national agenda set by our Prime Minister towards creating a digital India, and we strongly believe that this initiative by IMC will significantly contribute towards the larger objective. As stated by our Prime Minister, in this digital age, we have an opportunity to transform lives of people in ways that was hard to imagine a couple of decades ago. India's digital journey, hence, has been a very commendably supported by the state, which has stood for digital transformation in every aspect of our business processes. The road to digital transformation was possible due to important government initiatives that led to a boom in digital platforms for the citizens and improved secure access to such platforms. A significant achievement under the Digital India umbrella was the introduction of the UPI, which introduced digital payments in every part of the country, thus introducing transparency in business dealings and reduced human intervention. UPI payments crossed 5 billion transactions until March 2022, as per the National Payments Corporation of India. On similar lines, the eKYC, the Electronic Documents Storage System, DigiLocker, and the Electronic Signature System, eSign, were introduced to help businesses streamline their operations. Thus, digitally empowered India could take the entire vaccination drive for COVID, making us the only second nation to the US that administered 20 crore vaccines. India faced the pandemic as an empowered nation that operated digitally in every arena throughout the lockdown period to keep the growth clock ticking, which was commended by all. With more than 500 million internet subscribers, India is one of the largest and fastest growing market for digital consumers. As per leading research firms, companies that innovate and digitize rapidly will be better placed to take advantage of India's large connected market, which could include up to 700 million smartphone users and 840 million internet users by 2023. With rapidly improving technology and falling data costs, technology-enabled businesses and processes could become pervasive and create significant economic value. These transformations are growing, and thus we must focus on the need to recognize these performers who have taken great strides and overcome challenges in their work environment, bringing all activities under the click of a button or a swipe of a finger. Which digital transformations, today government services are also reaching citizens in the remotest of locations to keep them updated on various issues. It is to acknowledge these agents of change with their intellectual prowess who make a positive contribution to the society and economy that these awards were introduced by IMC. A brief introduction of our chief guest, Mr. Harish Mehta. He worked with leading IT experts, Ashank Desai, KV Ramani, Mr. F.C. Kohli, Adi Cooper, Saurabh Srivastava, Nandan Nilekani, and with 30 other software companies to start NASSCOM. He is the author of the bestseller, The Maverick Effect, which beautifully captures the IT industry establishment and growth in India. He was one of the chief architects for the Hinditron digital joint venture in India in 1987. He served as the deputy chairman and managing director of Onward Novel Software India Limited from 1993 to 2005, a 50-50 joint venture between Onward Group and Novel Inc., which was the second largest personal software company globally at that time. Harish Mehta was also the former director of Gujarat Venture Funds Limited and a founding member of Infinity Venture Fund, India's first corporate VC fund. He introduced the Silicon Valley-based organization, the Indus Entrepreneurs, TIE, to Mumbai, after which he served as the first president of TIE, Mumbai in 1999, and then as a member of TIE Global Board from 2001 to 2002. He was a managing trustee of Trust to Promote Advanced Technologies in India, which hosted the International Conference on Computers and Communications in August 2002 at Mumbai. He was appointed as the director at the College of Engineering, Pune between 2010 and 2015. Currently, Harish Mehta is the governor of Chairman's Council in NASSCOM and President's Council of TIE in Mumbai. He has been appointed as an expert advisor to the Executive Committee of the Board of Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, for its Fund of Funds operations. The IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, popularly known as the IMC Erst, is a legendary organization which has relentlessly pursued the agenda of identifying opportunities, addressing critical issues, and driving Indian businesses with a single-minded focus of sustainable growth. IMC members and his network have been instrumental in influencing policy frameworks and changes towards this goal and continually strengthening sectors that are critical to India's new phase of growth. IMC introduced the IMC Digital Technology Awards with an objective to encourage and recognize the efforts and honor the highest levels of digital achievements by various IT companies and end users of IT and government departments. I extend my heartiest congratulations to all award winners, especially to our Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Shri Vinit Nair, and wish the event every success. I would also like to congratulate Mr. Harish Tibrewala, chairperson of our Digital Technology Committee, along with Mr. Mukesh Kriplani, chairman IMC Digital Technology Awards Subcommittee, the entire team and the IMC Secretariat for the successful coordination of this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Khurakiwala. May I now invite Shri Harish Tibrewala, Chairman, IMC Digital Technology Committee, to give us an overview on the IMC Digital Technology Awards 2021.
Thank you, Selvi, and good evening, everyone. The IMC Digital Committee has a couple of key objectives. One is to spread education among its members on emerging technologies. Second is to participate in government programs, initiatives, policy making. Third is to recognize work that is happening in the industry by way of these different kind of awards, as well as coming up with white papers, thought leadership content, to support the viewpoint of the industry. The last year has been a very eventful year for us, and some of the key highlights were two of the seminars we organized. One was in the area of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, which got a lot of response from our members. And second was in the area of machine learning and artificial intelligence. I want to take the opportunity to thank my committee members. The role of a committee chair becomes very easy when you have committed committee members who are willing to take on all your load. And I've been extremely lucky in that respect. I specifically want to thank our members Pradeep Pense, who's the co-chair with me, Jhankana Kaur, Uday Sanghani, Pradeep Mukherjee, Mukesh Kriplani, Mohan Ramaswamy, Moiz Hussain, and Sudipta Sen. Some of you are here. Thank you so much for all your support. A specific word for Mukesh Kriplani. He's like a one-man army, Right from crafting the narrative for the award, identifying the categories, he has gone through each of the so many entries that we got, guiding the screening committee how to screen, and then guiding the final jury in reaching a conclusion. Amazing work, Mukesh. So, congratulations to you. Also want to acknowledge the work of the secretariat. Selvi is like always so enthusiastic. Any time of the day or night you speak to her, and she's so full of enthusiasm and willing to take on any task you give her. So thank you, Selvi, Anna, and Kadam for all your support for the award. A big shout out for the jury also. When you craft a jury for the award, you want to have people who are eminent personalities, and you also want to be sure that they can give time to the award judging process to do justice to the entire process. And in that respect, we've been very lucky to have a very good jury. Thanks to Harish Bhai, Harish Mehta, Samiran Ghosh, Sandhya Vasudevan, Sunil Mehta, Paula Mariwala, and Pradeep Udas. Thank you so much for all your support. I was a part of the jury deliberation, and every single entry was debated in detail, marks were allocated, discussions happened, debates happened, arguments happened to decide who should finally be the winner, just to be sure that we surface the best of the entries. I also want to thank all the people who participated by giving us entries for the award. Making an entry for the award is not an easy task, requires a lot of time and effort. And I admire your confidence and thank you for your confidence in showcasing your work in front of us and in front of the jury, and allowing us to recognize some of you in form of the IMC award. Big thanks to Saurabh Sonawala and Kamlesh Bhai. They have been one of our sponsors for so many years, and I will take the liberty of requesting for your continued sponsorship in years to come. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Atul Nishar. I don't think Atul Bhai is here in the audience, but he's almost been like a mentor to me when it comes to IMC award. When I needed money, I called him up. When I needed some names of jury members, I called him up. When I needed some other guidance, I called him up. Always he has been available. So almost like a patron, mentor member for our awards. Thank you, Atul Bhai, for all your support. Very soon we'll be entering our next year when the new president leadership takes over. And in the IMC committee, we keep looking for talent and newer people. So I encourage all of you, if you believe you want to contribute to the IMC Digital Committee, please get in touch with me, get in touch with the Secretariat. We're happy to take your viewpoints. We're happy to have your participation. We're happy to understand from you how else can the committee help you. So thank you so much. I think that's the end of speeches. Now we move to awards.
Thank you, Mr. Tibrewal. Now, as a token of our appreciation and respect, may I request Shri Khurakiwala to hand over the memento to our distinguished and respected chief guest, Shri Harish Mehta, author of the bestseller, The Maverick Effect, founder Onward Technologies Limited, founding member NASSCOM, and founder President TAI, Mumbai, who have taken time off his busy schedule to join us to encourage the IT fraternity. A loud applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Now, sir, as the chief guest, your work starts, sir. Now, may I request Sri Mehta and Sri Khorakiwala and Mr. Singhania and Tibrewala to present a memento to our distinguished jury members as a token of our gratitude and appreciation for investing their valuable time for the scrutiny and evaluation of the applications that and to come up with the winners. It was really a difficult task, believe me. So, may I request Ms. Paula Mariwala, Managing Director, Aureolus Ventures and Director, Hinditron. Since Ms. Paula Mariwala is traveling, may I request Mr. Saurabh Sonawala to accept the award on behalf of Ms. Mariwala, who's traveling. Thank you. May I request Mr. Pradeep Udas, Senior Advisor, KPMG and Thai Global Board Trustee, to kindly come on the dais to receive the memento. May I request Mr. Samiran Ghosh, Forbes Tech Council member, Senior Research Fellow, TEDx speaker, author, podcast host, board member, dog father, to please come on the dais and accept the memento. May I request Ms. Sandhya Vasudevan, Independent Director, Strategic Advisor and ex-MD Deutsche Bank, Thomson Reuters, to kindly accept the memento. She's always been there with us for the jury now a long time. May I request Mr. Sunil Mehta. I think Mr. Sunil Mehta is not yet arrived. He is a bit delayed. May I request Sri Khorakiwala to present a memento to our chief guest, Mr. Harish Mehta, who was also a part of our jury. Thank you, sir. So, friends, now we move on to the highlight of the evening. So, the much awaited awards distribution. But before starting, may I request Ms. Sandhya Vasudevan, Independent Director, Strategic Advisor and ex-MD Deutsche Bank, Thomson Reuters, as a jury representative to give us an overview on the award selection process. Over to you, Ms. Vasudevan.
Thank you. I think the process has been pretty standard. We had Mukesh Kriplani shortlisting and identifying the very large number of nominations that came through. It was a couple of hundreds, close to I think 600-700 if I recall correctly. And then finally we landed up getting about 100 odd shortlisted cases. The jury then broke it down by different awards category, discussions among the jury members on technical issues, the challenges, and the kind of scalability and capability that was needed for execution. What we also looked for was innovation. With that done, what we also did was, is it an idea that's already been presented? Is it something different? Many of the awardees actually had submitted similar kind of projects earlier, but they had upgraded what they had done in the past. So in those situations, we said a recognition is needed, but not necessarily an award. So with that, I think it was very systematic. Challenges were made, as Harish Bhai kind of called out. And finally, of course, Pradeep was the one who identified a number of the lifetime award winner potentials, and we were very, very fortunate to have Sri Vinit Nair here. I mean, we are genuinely happy to have him here. So I'll keep that brief, and then we can start.
So, now we start off with the award distribution. The first recipient of the award, that is category 1A, has been delayed because of traffic. So I'll just switch to the certificate of merit in that category. So the certificate of merit awarded in category 1A in Smart Tech, Nascent Born Digital Startups goes to Audio First Commerce Private Limited for their product High Voco Play. May I request Mr. Ayam Banerjee on the dais to accept the certificate? Mr. Ayam Banerjee? I think he is Mr. Ayam Banerjee? We move on to the next one. The certificate of merit. Next, there are four certificate of merits given in this category. So the second one goes to Perceive Design Private Limited for their product Meta Academy, experimental live class and learning platform web app. May I request Mr. Uttam Kumar Pandey, founder and CEO, and Mr. Ravi Shankar Dubey, co-founder and CTO on the dais to accept the certificate.
I think they're also not there.
The certificate of merit has been awarded to Updap CSR Private Limited and ESG Tech Company for their product Updap ESG. I hope Updap is present. No. Okay. The certificate of merit has been awarded to North Star Consulting for their product Information Systems and Cyber Security Audit. May I request Mr. Manish Hansraj Asher, Principal Consultant, and Ms. Divyanshi Manish Asher to come onto the dais to accept the certificate, sir.
Just to give a little more color, it's a setup, information security policy and procedures, cyber security, cyber resilience, and compliance regulatory requirements. It's an e-compliance tool. The way we made the decision was we would definitely invest in it. We all need to be compliant with the law. So it is definitely a very, very pragmatic and useful product to have.
All the winners are requested to please go on to the press photo op session that we have created over there after receiving the awards. So we move on to the next category of award, that is category 1B, IMC Ascent Overseas Education Award for Excellence in Mid-Level Solution Product-Oriented Digital Companies, which goes to CSM Technologies Private Limited for Crop 1. May I request Mr. Satyajit Shadangi, Program Manager, Business Solution, to come onto the dais to accept the award. May I request Mr. Mehul Shah, Head Family Office, Ascent Overseas Education, to kindly join us on the dais if he is there? Yes, sir. Mr. Mehul Shah? Yeah, please. Please join us on the dais. Yes. Mr. Satyajit Shadangi from CSM Technologies Private Limited. A loud round of applause.
This covers the integrated crop analytics solutions, satellite-based GIS mapping, image analysis and processing. It's a multi-stakeholder platform with both the end user, government, and it reduces fraud as well. Very, very impressive.
There are two certificate of merits awarded in category 1B. Yeah, Category 1B, IMC Ascent Overseas Education Award for Excellence in Mid-Level Solution Product-Oriented Digital Companies goes to Cred Avenue Private Limited for their Cred Loan, Cred Colon, Plutus, Cred SCF, Cred Pool. But even Cred Avenue couldn't make it because of some emergency, so they have not been able to come. You can just...
Yeah, let me just share. It's definitely a very, very interesting one. We all felt unanimously that this is a good product to have. It's an end-to-end unified digital platform for discovery, trade execution, and fulfillment of all debt solutions. The thing is, in today's world, everything needs to get digitalized sooner the better, more connected the better. So as IMC members, if you see any value in any of your activity to kind of get ideas from what the winners have done, please feel free to use it. This is one of the good examples that we had.
So, there are 2 Certificate of Merits awarded in Category 1B. Certificate of Merit in Mid-Level Solution Product-Oriented Digital Companies goes to Exportify Technologies Private Limited for their product Forward Plus. May I request Mr. Anuj P. Principal Engineer, to come onto the dais to accept the certificate. A loud round of applause, friends.
The export logistics have been digitalized, and it's, those of us involved in export know how painful that is. It's a personalized portal to monitor and update all cargo shipments along with access to documentation. Very, very solid product. Well done.
The next Certificate of Merit in Category 1B goes to Rubix Data Sciences Private Limited for their product Rubix Early Warning System, EWS. May I request Mr. Kaushal Sampath, founder, to come onto the dais to accept the certificate?
It's a credit lifecycle management product. It facilitates dynamic risk decisions on a B2B counterparties, allowing users to monitor the risk of their counterparties at an individual company and portfolio level.
So now we move on to 1D category, Award for Excellence in Pure Play Digital Online Companies in the large above 500 crore category goes to Tata Consultancy Services Limited for their TCS Technologies for Earth Regeneration and Rejuvenating the Atmosphere, Terra. May I request Mr. Dinesh Kumar Singh, Group Leader, TCS Digital Farming Initiatives, Mr. Sanat Sarangi, Scientist, TCS Digital Farming Initiatives, and Mr. Sitesh Nar, Enterprise Business Lead, on to the dais to accept the award.
This is truly impressive. Terra is unique. It uses sky and earth convergence approach that leverages the data from both the satellite information and the earth data to generate carbon smart protocols to improve carbon sequestration, monitor carbon smart practices, and estimate the carbon stocks in the farmland and deliver expected accuracy at a fraction of a cost. With focus on sustainability, this is a very, very timely and scalable product. Personally, we were all very, very impressed with it.
The award in Category 1D, Award for Excellence in Pure Play Digital Online Companies in large above 500 crore category goes to National Bulk Handling Corporation, NBHC, for their product Krishi Setu Platform. May I request Mr. Nirvan Biswas, CTO, and Mr. P.V. Raghava Vasimhan, AVP Procurement, on the dais to accept the award.
This is truly a multi-stakeholder solution, very timely. Issue needs are addressed, and many of the problems are solved. It's an advanced e-marketplace for agri-commodities, strategic enabler to electronically link market participants across the country for facilitating hassle-free transactions for buying and selling commodities. It's holistic, web-based, with call center and a whole range of other elements as a solution. Very well done.
The award in category 1D, Award for Excellence in Pure Play Digital Online Companies in the small, below 500 crore category goes to CSM Technologies Private Limited for their product Digital Logistics Management System, DLMS. May I request Mr. Siddharth Mishra, Associate VP Project, BSS, onto the dais to accept the award. Mr. Siddharth Mishra.
It's an end-to-end mining logistics automation system developed to help miners tackle the multimodal transportation challenge, reducing the time by 81% and bringing about automation and digitalization for improvement in various KPI, turnaround times, cost, visibility, and transparency. Driving efficiency is really important, but 81% is massive.
The award in category 1D, Award for Excellence in Pure Play Digital Online Companies in the small, below 500 crore category goes to Odex India Solutions Private Limited for their product, Odex Online Platform Trade Facilitator Portal. May I request Mr. Binay Toppil, Director, Mr. Swapnil Chavan, AVP, Business Development and Sales, and Mr. Rohit McCurtis, AVP, Marketing and Communications, to come onto the dais to accept the award.
It's a device lifecycle management product.
A loud applause, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a B2B digital platform for digital data exchange and payment facilitation for global ocean shipping trade by connecting various stakeholders, shipping lines, exporters, importers, freight forward, customs brokers. Which one? Okay. There you go.
So in category 1B, UPDAPT was a certificate of merit awardee. So may I request, he's here. So may I request Mr. Satish Ramchandani, co-founder and business officer, onto the dais to accept the certificate of merit. A loud applause, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a SaaS-based sustainability solution to seamlessly manage the ESG data lifecycle. It's definitely very, very useful for anyone running a company. It is important to look for problems that we want to solve, and this is a very good problem to solve.
Now, we move on to category 2, organizations embracing digital transformation. That is basically the end users who actually use technology to transform themselves. The award in category 2, Award for Excellence in Organizations Embracing Digital Transformation in BFSI, large above 500 crore category goes to SBI Cap Securities Limited for their product SBI Securities Mobile and Web Trading Platform. May I request Mr. Deepak Lalla, Chief General Manager, Mr. Chandresh Dedia, Chief Technology Officer, and Mr. Saurabh S, Manager, on the to come onto the dais to accept the award.
It's a web trading revamped platform featuring intuitive UI, navigation, instant trading recommendations, secure and easy fund management, which is, anyone who's involved in this area knows it's absolutely what the user needs.
The award in category 2, Award for Excellence in Organizations Embracing Digital Transformation in BFSI, large above 500 crore category, goes to Tata AIG General Insurance Company Limited for their product Enterprise Data Lake. May I request Mr. Anthony Devasi, SVP and Head, Data Office, Mr. Jeevan Prakash Maurya, DVP, Data Office, and Mr. Sachin Shanbag to come onto the dais to accept the award.
Anyone who's worked with data lakes knows that it's not easy to implement it. So when we saw this particular use case, we said the enterprise data lake, single source for real-time information and insight generation in a multi-source, fail-safe environment of both structured and semi-structured and unstructured single data repository was worth awarding and recognizing. So those of you who are involved with data lakes, don't be afraid, you can still succeed. I know many of us have had challenges with it.
The award in Category 2 award for excellence in organizations embracing digital transformation in defense and security is large, above 500 crore, goes to Mahindra Defense Systems Limited, Homeland and Cyber Division, for their product Maharashtra Emergency Response System, MERS Dial 112. May I request Mr. S.P. Shukla, Group President, Defense, Aero and Agri Sector, and Mr. Jasbir Singh Solanki, CEO, Homeland and Cyber Security Division, Mahindra Defense Systems Limited, onto the dais to accept the award.
This is truly one of the most remarkable cases. We have the same project in two different categories. It's the Maharashtra Emergency Response System project, conceived to bridge the existing gaps and meet the current challenges faced by the Maharashtra police to improve emergency response services using the latest technology and tools.
Now, we break for the panel discussion and will continue the award presentation post the panel discussion. So, may I request our respected dignitaries on the dais to occupy their earmarked seats in the audience to begin with the panel discussion. Digital technologies has changed the face of business by the ways in which we use them in our personal lives, work, and society, and especially with the pandemic, it has become the norm of major that MSMEs are still finding it difficult to match the pace of this change, as it is phenomenally faster with multiple technologies, and MSMEs are not having enough needed guidance. Hence, this panel discussion will throw light on digital transformation in MSMEs. We greatly look forward to hearing the viewpoints of our eminent speakers who have taken time of their busy schedule to join us for this enlightening session. The session would be moderated by Dr. Pradeep Pense, in charge, Director University Programs and CTO V School, and co-chairman of the IMC Digital Technology Committee. Sir, please, may I request you to come onto the dais? And the distinguished panelists joining him on the dais would be Mr. Binay Toppil, Director, Odex India Solutions Private Limited, Mr. Rajiv Mitra, CEO and Director, Sunfresh Agro Industries Private Limited, Mr. Rajiv Rajda, Chief Information Officer, All Time Plastics Private Limited, Mr. Vaibhav Palan, Head Digital Product and Technologies, Wholesome Global Digital Hub. May I request all the dignitaries to kindly join us on the dais, and I request Dr. Pense to take over from here. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. Hello, hello. Is it audible? Can you push the volume, please? Hello, hello. Yeah. Good evening. So we have a very rapid kind of a panel discussion today. We have 30 minutes and there are 4 panelists here, eminent panelists, to talk on a fairly complex subject of digital transformation, but focused on MSME. The context here is that the digital committee and in fact IMC, as Mr. Khurakiwala had outlined right at the start of this year, focused on MSME as a theme. And towards that, we've done a number of programs during the year, which largely focused on what you might call as the micro segment of the businesses, and towards, let's say, things like individual productivity and team productivity and things like that, and of course, fintech and things like that. But today, are going to focus on the MSME segment, which is the slightly bigger segment within that. And we have here representatives of companies which are in that area of MSME. At the same time, we have technology representatives as well. And without much ado, let me start the discussion, and it's going to be more like a chat rather than a discussion. So I have to begin with, let me start with Rajiv Mitra. What I'm going to ask a common question to all of you is, can you please describe very quickly and very briefly, given the time constraint, your context of business and some of the challenges and opportunities that you are trying to focus on as a business first, before we get into the technology side of it.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible. Thank you for having me here.
Can you get the mic up, please? There? Yeah, please.
Yes. Good evening. I represent a dairy company, and it so happens it is the world's largest dairy company, Lactalis. So I am not a technology company, not a small company. So you would think, what am I doing here? So in dairy, very quickly, what do? Farmers produce milk. We go and collect milk. And that milk, when collected in villages across the country, we bring that milk to our factories. And we produce so many things in our factories, and then we distribute. Distribute what? What you have on your tables for breakfast, for lunch, cheese, butter, milk, everything. So, cattle management, we have to use technology. To bring milk to our factories, management of logistics, we use technology. In factories, it is very well known that it is digitization and technology that helps produce without inefficiencies. In distribution, we use technology. In value addition, to create products according to your preferences, we use technology. So it may seem or sound very abnormal why this man is sitting here today, but in everything we do, we use technology. And the irony is, we have doyens of the IT industry sitting here. India is a powerhouse in IT. India is a powerhouse in dairy, the world's largest producer of milk. But the usage of IT in dairy is not what it should be. So there is a long way to go. So that is what we do. And but it is much better than what it used to be. Today we see boys and girls coming out of IITs and NITs, starting something to do in agriculture, a smart tech company to be utilized in dairy or agriculture, which is a huge help. And we are globally one of the largest users of technology and technology platforms in our operations. So thank you. I think that this would be good to start.
I think one other reason why you are here is also because I think something like a Prabhat Dairy which existed, which is now part of Lactalis, I think that's a transformation which many small businesses see over a period of time. So they rise to a certain level and there's an investment coming in and therefore there's a change. And this change invariably brings in fresh thought and technology for sure. And probably that's one thing which you want to talk about. The other thing I wanted to mention about you in person is that here's a person who's been in technology field for almost 20 plus years, in telecom for 10 years, and now he's heading a dairy company. I think what difference does that make? Would you want to answer that?
It makes a huge lot of difference. The perception that dairy or agriculture is very traditional is not true anymore. And that is the reason somebody finds me fit to head a dairy company of this scale from a digital and technology background. So things are changing. So there is a huge amount of utilization of technology required in traditional, conventional companies to go to the next level where we want to go.
Yeah, which means for the SME, I think the CEO or the owner, his own knowledge about technology will make all the difference. That's what probably we are trying to say.
Absolutely.
In as much as we say that maybe Apple succeeded because of Steve Jobs as a design thinker, so it's almost akin to that.
Yeah,
So-
very nicely said. Actually, we don't know what we need.
Yeah.
So we want the technology people to assess our requirements and tell us what we need and how to serve better across both ends of the value chain. On one end we have the farmer, and on the other end we have the consumer.
Sure.
So everything goes on in between the value chain. So we don't know what we need.
That's right. Can I now request Rajiv Rajda, who was head of IT for Kodak for many years, and then now he's helping SMEs to do digital transformation. Over to you.
Thanks, Pradeep, and good evening. So, I am right now talking about a manufacturing company, All Time Plastics. And being a manufacturing company based out of Mumbai, India, we are pro-technology, and we use technology in every area of business. And the business challenges are pretty much the same. Coming from a manufacturing focused company, the challenges are how do you improve the productivity, how do you improve the OE factors, how do you improve the cycle times and all this, the general stuff. The important part is that the underlying factor for all these, for implementing and deploying all these things is that how do we improve the overall efficiency of business. Now, improving the overall efficiency of business is a very broad term. And within manufacturing areas also, it includes a lot of other functions. Which talks about the production, which talks about the labor workforce, which talks about the quality, which talks about the inventory. So it covers the entire function of the factory operations, the shop floor operations. And yes, that's how we are implementing digitalization as well as some of the newer technologies that are there. So we already have some technology in place, and we are improving further with the help of the newer technologies.
So one question which comes to mind with respect to MSMEs is, one is so deeply involved in that business. So in the sense that you have to be physically there in the office all the time, and you don't want to let go, you can't delegate. Do you see a change happening in that respect with, let's say, an IoT and things like that, where I could be anywhere in the world actually talking to my customers, whereas the business runs on its own, and I'm able to monitor it from the remote? So.
Oh yes, sure. That is one of the after effects of implementing technology like IoT. And our management is very pro technology, and we believe in empowering our people by using this technology. So it helps them in taking decisions whether they are at the location or even remote. And COVID has already brought in a lot of changes in the way we work. But yes, this is very much relevant factor
I
of.
think, so the insight really is that if an MSME owner is able to automate to a level where he or she can be outside in the marketplace rather than sitting in-house and honestly breathing down the shoulders of people, I think it will make a lot of difference in terms of growth and even the productivity as well.
Yes, definitely. And the other factor is that our management is very supportive towards technology.
Sure.
So that
So I'll
itself
come to
is
the
very
specific
important.
use cases in the second round. We have Vaibhav Palan, who heads the digital hub of Holcim. And interestingly, Holcim, of course, is in the news right now. But at the same time, I think he represents Holcim worldwide, trying to support all the group companies from here in terms of products and platforms. What is the role of products and platforms from the standpoint of digital transformation? Of course, you have a big picture from a large company perspective, but is there a learning for SMBs based on that?
Sure, thank you. I hope you can hear me. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I think what we are doing and looking at is from our 30,000 square feet high and looking at the problems. If you look at the problems worldwide, it's common and falls under the same category, which is, either it's customer journey or your business capability enhancement or your core IT capabilities, So we are focusing from a technology or digital transformation standpoint on these three buckets. And then we are building products and solutions, So from your question perspective, MSME, yeah, you don't have to start building the platforms if you are not the scale. Start building the products, which is going to help your operations, which is going to help your customers, or, it is going to help your core capabilities. Once you are at a stage, then you go for a scalability, and then you try to build a platform. I'll take a simple example. Health and safety is a very important topic for us in India and outside. So we started building a very small product, which is based out of India. We went to the couple of plants. We said, hey, this is where the incidences happened. We started building the product there. We made that product very successful in India, in one of the plants, 2 plants. Now that product within a month, 18 months time has gone to 70 countries, So we started with a small product, which is in 1 plant, 2 plant. Now it's scaled to 70 countries and it's, having few thousand users. So this is how you kind of decide whether you want to build a product as an MSME or you want to go for a platform.
So how different is this? In the good old days, small companies would tend to create solutions in-house. Then we said doing that is not the right way, you should buy products. And so you started buying products from outside. And now we are saying you start building products all over again. What's your take on that?
So I think we also are a buyer of a lot of products from the industry. So a simple lens we use is the non-core capabilities. I think don't try to reinvent the wheel. Payrolls, your O2C, P2P, I think they're all established processes. So don't spend time trying to build capabilities around that. Try to build capabilities around innovation, which is your IP, and go out there and build that. That will help you. And data monetization is one thing which I think Indian MSMEs are not kind of, that's not in their radar. They have a lot of capabilities, lot of data, lot of, insights. What we are trying to do is, since we are selling cement, which is, across the world, we have a lot of data. And now the plan is to monetize that data for probably, as you were saying, Rajiv, in terms of dairy business. We are the largest producer of milk, but there's a lot of data points which Indian companies are not monetizing. They're still looking at product as a milk or a dairy products. They're not looking product as data as a product and sell it to the world. So that's the opportunity which we are trying to capture.
Thanks. Binay, I think you come from a software company point of view, and for Dex, we just saw you getting an award. Congrats. You're trying to look at sort of automating an entire ecosystem, at least some part of it. You want to share the context first and then...
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, thank you. And I think we have probably a unique distinction, rather my company has a very unique distinction that amongst the panelists, I represent an MSME because we are an MSME. Out of 35,000 business houses that are our customers, I think 70% of them are MSMEs. And I have a third bigger distinction. All these 3 gentlemen who are sitting here are my customers. So that's I think, the biggest distinction that I carry. How we are different is that while we got a perspective from the manufacturing, I particularly represent an industry which is completely chaotic. So when you look at a EXIM logistic, an export-import logistics, what happens is you have a container of goods, you push it into a black hole, somehow it magically emerges on the other side. There is a whole lot of people, big, small, micro, and if I were to slip into Hindi, तो उनके बीच में एक जुगलबंदी चलती है और वो जुगलबंदी जो है वो completely offline था और किसी को दिखाई नहीं देती थी. So what happens is that this jugalbandi is good in getting your goods delivered, but then where is the transparency and visibility? Transparency and visibility then leads to cost. And for an MSME, the cost is something that really, really pinches. So what we are trying to do is that while these 20 people interact, what we are trying to do is have a simple community collaborative portal which will, ease out this interaction between these people. So if I were to give you an example, earlier, if you want to export a container out of India, so maybe you need about like 10 touch points that are there. And at the last point is something that you get a port entry permit, which is similar to your boarding pass. Now we all travel internationally, locally. You go to the counter, you give your ticket, you give your identification, you get a boarding pass. The problem with a container is that the container is not a human, it cannot do it on its own. How it used to happen in India was very surprising. It used to be paper, there used to be somebody, there used to be a truck standing, there used to be one guy with a paper who goes to an office and get this done. The good thing is that we were at the right place at the right time. The government really supported digitization. And one fine day, paper is gone. And suddenly, we are running entry gate pass at probably 80% of the ports out of the country. So today what happens is that about 7 out of 10 transactions in an export cycle, at least one of the transactions comes to us. So which means that about 70% of the export containers that go, at least one transaction goes through ODEX. We are a very back-end kind of a portal. We are not in the limelight. We are not trying to sell something. We are not trying to be a broker. We are just trying to be a facilitator. So that's the role that we play as a portal. And I would say that in a very small way, we are trying to ease this whole pain of how this goods move. So that's about us.
Right. So one interesting question that comes is, do you think, and that applies to both of you actually since you are in the platform business, do you think an MSME, just as you are trying to transform one part of the ecosystem, can a MSME try and transform its own customers and suppliers? And that's an ecosystem by itself. And how difficult is it? Particularly because when you, for example, say that you have so many customers, you have a standard process. What is the challenge that they go through in terms of implementing it at their end and to adopt a product which is a third-party product? And so this question is a little bigger because I think today we say a lot of SaaS products are out there. Why don't you just pick and choose and make use of it? Is it that easy really for a medium-scale enterprise to do it?
So Vaibhav, if I can go first. Sorry. Yeah, so I love to speak. All right. So couple of things that we are seeing. One is that the problems of an MSME are very different than a large enterprise. So they need very focused and specialized solutions rather than a whole suite of solutions out of which 10 features are there, only 2 are required, but I'm paying for the rest. The other challenge with most of the SaaS players that is happening is that, especially on the platform business, is that the platform then becomes a big daddy and they are threatening the MSME's business. So we see that in many industries. So these are the 2 challenges that the MSME is facing. At the same time, the new generation of, I would say, entrepreneurs or the second, third generation which is coming in is extremely savvy. So they know how to pick and choose the features, how to pick and choose specific products. For example, if I were to give you like a Tally and having a connector on top of Tally and then having a separate, very simple Excel-based reporting tool is far more powerful than buying a ClickView or a, any other big product that is there. So this is what the MSME guys are doing today. And these are the ones who are, following the Jeff Bezos example that adapt, adopt or die. So these are the guys who are doing the adapt and adopt. So that's how the MSME is integrating, backward and forward by using these specific tools. So you see a lot of them in the market now. You see suddenly Zoho becoming very popular. You see suddenly like ODEX becoming popular because we provide very micro things rather than building a full ERP or a very large platform and then I will threaten their business. So that's not going to fly. So that's my take on it. Vaibhav, over to you.
Yeah. No, I think I'll probably answer from the adoption and how do kind of you approach going for the scalabilities. I think whether it's a MSME or large, I think the success lies in starting small and failing fast. So irrespective of it's a MSME or a large enterprise, what we do is we innovate, we incubate, and once we incubate, then we scale. So it's famous saying that nail it before you scale it, So that's what is the formula for success for us, and I think it applies across the globe, That is what I think will make difference for MSME, because you're not putting a lot of money upfront in buying large platforms which you don't need. So start small, fail fast. Another challenge I see when I'm dealing with my peers in the MSME is that once they are in pressure, as he said, it's a FOMO, that the competition is gone ahead and I've not gone, so I have to adapt something. Don't fall into that cycle. Each and every initiative which we do, has a business benefit attached to that. So if you don't have a business benefit of that particular initiative or pilot or POC, just don't do it. Maybe go for one which helps you from day one. So that will help.
Yeah, while researching on MSMEs last year, I found that SAP and a number of other companies have actually tied up with the government to set up the Bharat ERP and things like that. And so I'm looking at an opportunity where you create almost like an app store for MSMEs, where you can go and pick up apps at discounted rates and things like that. So how would you look at solving your problems without having the pain of actually developing or building it and just ready to use, which is available?
Yeah, I know of many in dairy and agri sector. There are many such users who take advantage of picking and choosing and finding a solution to the particular problem that they have. But see, for me, I'll give you a perspective for a global company like mine, where I operate out of 60 countries, out of 250 factories in all these 60 countries. I can assure you that we have all the problems in the world. So I mean, you let me pick and choose anything, I'll pick and choose everything, since I have all the problems. And today, digitization and technology allows me to use something, use a solution to a problem that happened in Croatia 2 years back, or Australia can predict a problem that is happening today in India and get ready with a technology that they will have to adopt 2 years down the line, probably even avoiding the problem altogether. So for me, I have a benefit of scale, sometimes a benefit of hindsight, and sometimes a benefit of foresight. So like I am on SAP globally. And it is true, as you said, Vinay, that sometimes I am inundated with solutions to problems I don't have. I know. I do. I agree with that. But that is a problem that may happen to me tomorrow, and I'll be happy if it doesn't happen. It is like buying insurance. I don't want to fall in, but what I have purchased is peace of mind. So I have the whole blanket, and I will find my own small place to get my cover under it. So that is my perspective from a IT solution that I have.
So one other little insight from a research which we had done is many MSMEs don't even have a proper IT man to look after their own internal digital transformation. Rajiv, of course, is doing your bit for a particular company, but the point is, like he said, there are so many solutions. Do you really have a guidance available to a MSME for, you need to answer. Do you think MSMEs really have a guide to tell them what is the right thing to buy? If not, I think the IMC digital committee should be doing it, I guess.
If there is no IT guy, then there are other avenues in which you can get information. You can become more aware of the technology. One is, there are some specific user groups or reference points that you can get in touch with. Some of your peers or some of your colleagues who are there can give you that information. You can, I think you also mentioned about POC and sort of a test, which is very important. Before doing any solution or deploying any solution, it is very important to understand whether that is going to fit your business, whether that is aligned to your business or no. So a test or a POC will give you that insights into that, and that is very important to avoid the pains pro-deployment in case you decide to go ahead with that technology.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd also like to just add to that is for the really small businesses and those who doesn't want to invest full-fledged into the technology teams, I think there are now plenty of options in terms of CIO as a service, CDO as a service. So you throw them a problem and say we need a solution for that, and they will be able to craft a solution end-to-end with a business benefit. So if you are now okay with that kind of implementation solution, then you invest and you just pay a part fees to this kind of groups, which is very helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I would like to add, if you go even more micro, beyond the companies that you service, like in India, I am connected to 400,000 farmers. And if I consider them as 400,000 micro units, and they are very savvy, maybe contrary to what we think of the milk producing farmers or other farmers that I don't know of. I know the dairy farmers, extremely savvy people, and from weather forecasting to calving to artificial insemination to genetics to any kind of very savvy people. And then what you are saying, picking from an array of solutions to fit into exactly that problem. Like in Western Maharashtra, we have a problem of mastitis. I don't want to get too technical about it, but in Tamil Nadu, that is not a problem there. There is a different kind of problem. So there it definitely helps to have a mix and match of solution rather than buying the whole company called SAP.
Anyway, so we are running out of time. So one last question to all of you. In a single word or two words or a phrase, you want to describe what digital transformation means to you? Very quickly.
For me, it means, it really is transformation. As I said, the industry in this country, it's a metamorphic change.
Okay, great. Rajiv, yeah.
Yeah, it's a journey that helps you to change the way you think and work. And during this journey, you need to be, you need to take the learnings that come during the journey. You need to be comfortable with those.
Okay, thank you.
For me, it is exciting future.
Okay.
So, Dr. Pradeep had actually prepared me for this question, so I thought hard, and I think serendipity is the answer for me. So not being a romantic, but as a, yeah. Okay, all right, so that's a googly, but I stick to serendipity because I prepared for it and it's written on my mobile, so. But I'll just take this opportunity to explain, again, I would like to believe that I'm representing MSMEs. Why serendipity? Because most MSMEs, they just find their way, It's like, and it is serendipitous because in finding their way, they will have some elements of luck, they will have some elements of connects, they will have some elements of money, and suddenly it's a viable business. So that's why I feel that the word for an MSME, even in terms of digital transformation, is serendipity for me.
True, I think I use the word not digital transformation, but digital thinking. And if each one of us is to transform our companies, I think individually we need to also transform, right? As individuals, like you said, design thinking, now it's digital thinking. And in digital thinking, you need to now think about digital first, right? And if you can do that, force yourself. Nobody taught us how to use the mobile phone. We learned on our own. And every time we switch the phone, we pretty much learn on our own. But when it comes to learning another software, I don't know why we struggle so much. So perhaps we need to put our heart and soul behind it, and if the CEO, the owner demonstrates that, I think to a large extent the problem will be, as you're saying, it's a continuous process of experimentation with new things. That's the way you'll bring in innovation in your company, at the same time find growth and success. Thank you so much to all the panelists for giving us their insights, and thank you for having me here. So,
Thank you. A huge round of applause for the panelists, ladies and gentlemen, for treating us to such an enlightening and knowledgeable session. May I request Dr. Painse, please do not, please be on the stage. May I request Dr. Painse to present a memento as a token of appreciation to Mr. Binay Topil for investing his precious time for this discussion. May I request Dr. Painse again to present a memento as a token of appreciation to Mr. Rajiv Mitra for investing his precious time for this discussion. May I request Dr. Painse to present a memento as a token of appreciation to Mr. Rajiv Rajda for giving us his much valuable time. May I request Dr. Painse to present a memento as a token of appreciation to Mr. Vaibhav Palan for investing his time for this panel discussion. And also all of you panelists for giving us yes at such a short notice. May I request Mr. Juzar Khorakiwala, President IMC, to present a memento as a token of appreciation to Dr. Pradeep Painse. Okay. Well, can I request Mr. Singhania, President-elect, to present a memento to Dr. Painse for moderating this session excellently. Thank you, sir. So as we go back to our awards, may I request our respected guest, Mr. Harish Mehta, Shri Juzar Khorakiwala, Mr. Shri Anand Singhania, Shri Harish Tibrewala, and Shri Ajit Mangrulkar to come onto the dais to distribute the awards as we start the session again with the remaining awards. May I request Ms. Sandhya Vasudevan to kindly join me on the dais. Thank you, ma'am. Award in category 2, award for excellence in organization for organizations embracing digital transformation in the infrastructure large above 500 crore category goes to L&T Construction Water and Effluent Treatment IC for their project L&T Construction ISP Parvati Phase 1 and 2 MLIS Madhya Pradesh. May I request Mr. Murli Mohan Murthy A, General Manager and Head, Large Water Systems Business 3 SBG, along with Mr. Subodh Manohar Parab, Project Manager, ISP Parvati Phase 1 and 2, MLIS Project, Madhya Pradesh, to please come on to the dais to accept the award.
This is a really interesting award. It's micro-lift irrigation scheme using aerial lidar survey, locate, measure, navigate on phone, pipe tracking solution, building information model, GIS progress monitoring, smart glass, IoTs for plants, machinery, virtual factory inspection, view EHS, QIR. The entire project was implemented in the forest area. We don't realize how difficult something would be like that, but I think the opportunity would be, something to kind of learn more from them. Have a look at what they've done. It's there in their website.
The award in category 2, IMC Code Next, Award for Excellence in Organizations Embracing Digital Transformation in the Manufacturing Large, above 500 crore category goes to Aditya Birla Textiles for their AI for SCM prowess and digitizing customer experience and new business model. To present the award, may I request Mr. Romil Shah, Regional Sales Manager, to kindly join us on the dais from Code Next. May I request Mr. V.S. Sri Rangarajan, CIO, Pulp and Fiber Business, Grasim Industries Limited, to come on to the dais to accept the award.
This is fantastic. You know, we all started work from home, and I thought, bank trading activity was the coolest, but this really, really got my attention. It's an AI-based procurement of wool lots from Australia. Auction markets, model suggests which lot of wool to buy. Model prediction accuracy was 96%. You're buying a product in a different country virtually, and that is a commodity, which is hats off. This is during lockdown. Digital channels to the customer were leveraged, and the digital trade shows were integrated. Fantastic solution.
The award in category 2, IMC Codenext Award for Excellence in Organizations Embracing Digital Transformation in Manufacturing, large above 500 crore category, goes to Vedanta Limited, Unit Sterlite Copper Silvassa for their IoT-based real-time vibration monitoring system for critical asset in copper rod plant. I would like to invite Mr. Romil Shah from Codenext to kindly join us on the days again. May I request Mr. K. Shah, Head Center of Excellence on the days, to accept the award. Mr. Romil Shah, yeah, and yes, Mr. K. Ramesh, Head Center of Excellence on the day. Sir, please join.
It's an IoT-based vibration sensor to monitor the vibration levels on a 24/7 basis and give real-time alert and recommendation through a cloud-based system.
The award in category 2, Award for Excellence in Organizations Embracing Digital Transformation in the Manufacturing Large above 500 crore category, goes to Grasim Industries Limited, Pulp and Fiber Business for their Automated Visual Inspection System, AVIS, and Digital Twin Chillers and Cooling Towers. May I request Mr. V.S. Srirangarajan, CIO, Pulp and Fiber Business, Grasim Industries, onto the dais to accept the award, sir.
It's an AI-based vision analytics solution to identify blockages in one of the critical assets in the heart of the fiber manufacturing process. The digital twin implementation is a 24 energy meter, 36 sensors, 12 chillers, 6 cooling tower, asset integration with predictive alerts. Truly complex.
A loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please. They deserve it. Now we move on to category 3, government and public sector units having digital strategy. The award in category 3, IMC Hindutron late Sri Hemant Sonawala Award for Excellence in Government and Public Sector Units having digital strategy, goes to Maharashtra Police for their Maharashtra Emergency Response System, MERS, dial 112. I would like to invite Mr. Kamlesh Sonawala, Chairman Hindutron Group of Companies, and Mr. Saurabh Sonawala, Vice Chairman Hindutron Group of Companies, to join us on the dais to give away the award along with the chief guest. May I request Commander Kiran Chaudhary, Project Director, MERS, dial 112, and Mr. Sandeep More, Project Manager, MERS, dial 112, to come onto the dais to receive the award.
This is truly a one-of-a-kind project. It meets so many challenges that are there in society. It has solved the emergency response issue. It's created jobs. There is a richness of application. The potential solutions and the impact are huge. And the end user impact is absolutely vital. This is also an award that we gave to Mahendra's as part of the solution that they gave, but the government needs to be really commended for taking this forward. It is huge, it's complex, and in a state like Maharashtra, absolutely vital.
A loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The award in category 3, Award for Excellence in Government and Public Sector Units having digital strategy, goes to Chhattisgarh Vidhan Sabha for their e-Prashna and e-Uttar. May I request Mr. Sudhir Sharma, Under Secretary, Chhattisgarh Vidhan Sabha, Shri Satyesh Sharma, Technical Director, DGM NIC, to come onto the dais to accept the award.
When questions are asked, the SMS alerts go out to all the MLAs. It provides transparency, it is timely, and it ensures efficient way of working in the future.
They've
It's
come
an
all the way
online
from
platform
Chhattisgarh.
for the MLAs, and this is probably the way the future is going. We all need to know what's happening. Excellent. work.
A loud round of applause, please. I can't hear the claps. The award in category 3 again, Award for Excellence in Government and Public Sector Units having digital strategy, goes to Commissioner Land Records, Chhattisgarh and National Informatics Center for their product Bhuiyan. May I request Mr. Saurabh Dubey, Scientist C, NIC, onto the dais to accept the award. Mr. Saurabh Dubey.
This was executed in the tribal belt. It's an Excel area, huge security concerns, and you had to get the land records done. It is not an easy thing to do. Great job. And they worked with, the two applications which were there to cater to the new needs of the Revenue Department and the Land Records Management, as well as the citizen information demands. Very well done.
Now, there are 3 certificates of merit in category 3. Certificate of Merit in Government and Public Sector Units having digital strategy goes to Collector Office, Nandurbar, for their bed management system and ambulance tracking for COVID-19 patients. May I request Mr. Nikhil Bhav, sir, Rollout Manager NIC, to come onto the dais to accept the award. A loud round of applause, friends.
It's very well done. They require a special mention. They won the award last year, but they've upgraded it to a mobile solution, and it's got more features, and it's really more robust. Excellent work.
The Certificate of Merit goes to Department of Information Technology and Communications, Government of Rajasthan, for their document verification mobile app. May I request Mr. Ranveer Singh, Joint Director, IT and Communications, and Mr. Tulsaram Parihar, Programmer, IT and Communications, onto the dais to accept the award.
When we first looked at it, we said it's fairly simple. You're kind of just doing document verification. But when we started looking into the actual implementation, it's complex, it's huge, and it's going to make the work a lot more easier for the government to provide the services. Excellent job.
A loud round of applause for them. They have come all the way from their states. The Certificate of Merit also goes to Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship for their skill acquisition and knowledge awareness for livelihood promotion, Sankalp. Anybody from skill development have been able to make it? I'm sorry, there was some, okay. So now we go on to announce the Category 1A Award for Excellence. He was delayed due to some traffic issue. So may I request Mr. Ashish Anand, CEO, to come onto the dais to accept the award. He receives the award in Category 1A, Award for Excellence in Smart Tech Nascent Born Digital Startups, which goes to Whirl for their warehouse receipt finance suite blockchain.
Excellent. This is a disruptor with tokenization and digitalization. It's a futuristic integrated digital warehouse receipt finance suite. It is blockchain based, it's digital lending and e-marketplace. Excellent product.
The Certificate of Award In category 1A, in Smart Tech Nascent Born Digital Startups, also the participants have arrived. So it goes to Audio First Commerce Private Limited for their product High Voco Play. May I request Mr. Ayam Banerjee onto the dais to accept the certificate.
This is really very interesting. It's got local appeal. It's going to be of interest to the national education program in the future. It is teaching good values using stories from our heritage and in 18 different Indian languages. Excellent work.
Mr. Sunil Mehta is with us, one of the jury member. Mr. Sunil Mehta, President and Systems Director, South Asia and Southeast Asia, WPP. May I request you to please come over to the dais to receive the memento. He has really given his valuable time in the panel of jury, sir. Thank you, Sandhya ji, and thank you to the jury members. I really thank Sandhya because she's really taken the pains to do this along with me. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to announce the IMC Hinditron late Shri Hemant Sonawala Lifetime Achievement Award, for which I would like to invite jury member Mr. Pradeep Udas, Senior Advisor KPMG and Thai Global Board Trustee, to give a brief introduction of the awardee.
Good evening, everyone. So, as you were saying, as the jury, it was really very, very challenging to pick all the awardees. You saw some really well-deserving members here. And, but at the same time, it was very educating to know what's happening in our country. And when it came to Lifetime Achievement Award, if you see IMC, it's been very, very prestigious. The likes of Ms. Narayan Murthy, F.C. Kohli, they have received awards. And this year, when we were discussing some of the names, they were all very, very respected names. But when the jury, spoke about Shri Vinit Nair, there was like immediately unanimous saying yes. and it really made me very, very happy because I have known, it's an honor to introduce Vinit. I think it's an honor for, IMC also that Vinit has come personally to receive award from Delhi. And despite, he was not well, and yet, he's come here with his wife, Reva. And so when for those of you who may not know, for me, Vinit, I've known him for 3 decades, and, I don't need this paper to introduce him, but I will still read out some of great achievement Vinit has had. Vinit has had a stellar career for 5 decades. Okay, and I was talking to Reva the other day, and it's amazing that that 5 decades, and he's still, he's as young as he was saying other tech guys here. I said, you are as young as them. The way your thinking is, and the way you inspire everybody. Vinit has worked in Government of India, in international multilateral agencies, and the corporate sector, both private and public. Vinit started his career in Indian Administrative Service and held series of senior positions, including that of district magistrate, secretary, agriculture and rural development for Government of India and Haryana, director of Department of Economic Affairs, Government of India. I didn't know when I was reading that part. Worked with the World Bank for over 10 years in a series of senior assignments, including successive terms as Chief of Energy, Infrastructure and Finance Division of East Asia and Pacific. So after, having worked in such prestigious positions, this is what, I feel like, Vineet was always an entrepreneur at heart. If I met him 3 decades ago, he's had the maturity of, knowing the big picture, but at the same time, when it gets down to starting a business or turning around a business, there is nobody better than Vineet, and you can see from the achievements, that are there. So Vineet became a chairman of Tech Mahindra, and in that leadership role for growth and transformation, he's well known. Vineet and his team, CP and the entire team that came in Tech Mahindra acquired Satyam Computer, which is going through horrific time. All of you would us remember. And I will tell you a little story. I was in private equity at that time. I was running Greater Pacific Capital, and I remember meeting Vineet, you and CP at I think Oberoi, and said that बोले विनीत से प्रदीप क्या लगता है ये सत्यम कंप्यूटर को acquire करना चाहिए कि नहीं? And I was saying, it has a lot of issues, I mean, even as a private equity, we think about it. And so he said, the companies, there are companies made of people, there are some issues, but, why can't we turn it around? And would tu paisa dalega as a private equity, would you invest? And I said, with you being there in the leadership position and your team, I would really be tempted, because I know you can do it. I've seen him in HCL Pero when he was, how he had really turned that company into a really very, very competitive company from being primarily a captive for for Pero system, and it became very, very successful. So I felt, unfortunately, I couldn't pull it off with my investment committee at that time, and it's a big regret for me that, we could not invest at that time. But Vineet, being Vineet, he went to, and I think with Anand Mahindra, worked out, this, and what a story, how they managed to turn that company around, and overall Tech Mahindra, where they took. And besides Tech Mahindra, Vineet has also been a chairman and managing director of Gas Authority of India, public sector undertaking, and also managing director of HCL Corporation. He was also served as a vice chairman of HCL Technology and chief executive officer of HCL Pero System. That's when I first met Vineet. And he's also served as an independent director of ONGC, Indian Oil, and Great Ship India Limited. So, I mean, very, very stellar career. Mr. Nair's principal directorship also includes serving as a director on the board of Mahindra United World College of India, the Great Eastern Shipping Company, Vidya Education Investments Private Limited, and he's also chairman of SL Social Welfare Foundation. I know Vineet and Reva are doing wonderful work in philanthropic areas. I've seen the school and the work that Reva does. It's really admirable. He's currently a director of Tech Mahindra Foundation, which works with many education institutions, and also runs Mahindra University, Hyderabad. He also serves as trustee of Vidya Education Foundation and a pro vice chairman of the Delhi Public School, Gautam Budh Nair. Mr. Nair also worked as the vice chairman and managing director of infrastructure leasing and ILFS. That was another example. I remember, he thought, he had done what he had to do with Tech Mahindra and he kind of resting. Now he can rest at home. And suddenly, that's another story I remember. Vineet, I hope you don't mind me sharing that, but that he got a call from Prime Minister's office and saying, Mr. Nair, I think you were, you were asked to come from Russia or somewhere, I think you were traveling something, I remember, and saying, can you please come and meet, come meet PMO office because would like to take over ILFS, which was another, so Vineet's name is associated with, if there's some big trouble nobody can solve, Vineet can solve, basically. This is how nationally he is known as. So please, big round of applause for Vineet. And at that moment, to take over as a CEO of ILFS, having worked for so many years, he never gets tired. I remember he came over ILFS and right away, I met him somewhere early morning somewhere and said that, Pradeep, tell me more about this whole finance industry and what is happening, etc. And it's an industry he was not familiar with. He had worked in the government. He came into a technology industry, which was also new to him, which he mastered. And then he comes into a finance institution like ILFS, and again, very, very successfully, took care of it. Many of the assets which were kind of in trouble, they managed to sell them off, etc., put it on a right level, and then finally kind of, retired from that. So it's amazing, amazing. I have always admired, Vineet for, how he handles it. And Vineet also has been awarded E&Y Entrepreneur of the Year in 2013. He was recognized as India's best CEO at the 4th edition of Business Today Best CEO Awards in 2015. He's been honored with Lifetime Achievement Award at Financial Express IT Awards in 2018. So it seems like Vineet is always getting all this Lifetime Achievement Award. So we are very, very thankful for Vineet to have accepted our award. So with that,
I would like to invite Mr. Kamlesh Sonawala, Chairman Hindutron Group of Companies, and Mr. Saurabh Sonawala, Vice Chairman Hindutron Group of Companies, to join us on the dais with the chief guest for the presentation of the prestigious IMC Hindutron late Shri Hemant Sonawala Lifetime Achievement Award to Shri Vineet Nair, Chairman, Mahindra Educational Institutions, Chairman Emeritus, Board of Management, Mahindra University, and it goes on and on, to come onto the dais to accept the award. May I request the jury members to please join? May I request the jury members to please join for the photo? May I request all the jury members to please join for the photo? She is Mrs. Reva Nair. A loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Sirs, come all the way from Delhi for us. Yes, sir.
I want to thank Mr. Nair by honoring us to accept this award. I am really thankful to you, sir, for honoring us.
Thank you, sir. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be here today. Yes, I have always loved areas which are challenging, and I have been fortunate enough to get opportunities to be able to help. There is nothing magical in this. What I found is that in multiple situations, problems are created, not resolved. And all what one needs is simplicity in unraveling those situations. And my life has been full of only these challenges for reasons I cannot quite understand. But having worked with about 5 to 6 awful situations and making them work profitably, because I don't believe in the public sector way of functioning that we are doing it for the good of the people. If we ain't making money, we aren't doing our job. So basically what I've seen is that with certain amount of application, certain amount of honesty, you can run an efficient business. And efficient business is not the exclusive command of the private sector. It can be done in public sector. It can be done anywhere as long as you have integrity and you have a certain amount of belief that you are doing not only for the good of the country, but you're doing for the good of your business. And if you're not doing the good of your business, you're not serving your purpose. So, in the end, the Marwari way of looking at things, what is the bottom line is the most important thing. And I have always told my colleagues, though I am from the public sector, I've worked largely, if not exclusively for the government, that if we are not making money, we are wasting our time. It is not looking at, I mean, if I say I'm doing it for the good of the people, you're cheating yourself. What you're doing is that I'm creating a business which will help everyone, will regenerate itself, and will bring benefit to everyone around. So, and that is a lesson I learned. I'm a civil servant. That is a lesson I have learned from working with the government, that most of the time that we are doing it for the public good was a complete alibi. That is not how business is to be run or should be run. You can do competent work and make money which will be good for the company and for the country. So these are the simple rules with which one has led one life, and sometimes you have failed, but most of the time you ultimately succeed if there is sincere effort. And that's the only message I would like to leave here, because you folks are all in the business and in commercial life, and people like us who have been rather spent most of our life as civil servants. What I would like to say is that it is possible under almost every circumstance, provided one's vision is correct and your interests are honest and looked after. Thank you so much for giving me this honor. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Udas. Mr.
Just a few.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, no, not the whole speech. Actually, it's fine. He's already spoken.
thank you, Mr. Udas, Mr. Kamlesh Sonawala, and Mr. Saurabh Sonawala. And now we move on to the fireside chat. We are delayed, but we started 10 minutes late, so that's done and doable. So, friends, we now move on to the fireside chat with our respected chief guest, Shri Harish Mehta. Actually, we have a Harish square here. Okay? So, Mr. Harish Mehta is going to be Mr. Harish Tibrewala, in fact, is going to have a chat with Mr. Harish Mehta. So, I hand it over to Mr. Tibrewal. Thank you.
Industry brought in financial transparency in your quarterly reports, annual reports, which allowed FDI money to flow in. India was not a trusted nation. India became a trusted nation because of the standards set by the IT industry. Today, our industry employs 37% are women employees. Now just imagine these women who are having high-paying job now are enjoying freedom at work, enjoying freedom at home. What will they contribute over the next 8 to 10 years? How will they bring up their families and what values they will bring in? And the cultural change that this industry will bring in. This is the industry where IIT Mumbai gardener's son gets a job in the industry, not because he knows somebody, but because what he knows. So this story of meritocracy...
Yeah, the story had to be told.
Had to be told. And there's an African proverb which says, if lions had a historian, the tales of glorious history of hunting would be very different. Right. So if we have not told the story, I can't pass the buck anywhere. So I took that responsibility of writing that story. So this is the story of, and then again, One is the story of saying IT industry change, but more important, how did we enjoy 30% growth, 30% compounded growth over the 30 years? And I am putting my stake on the ground in this book saying it is the values and the best practices adopted by NASSCOM that has impacted the IT industry and that has made in the change. So the secret sauce of NASSCOM is what is in this book.
It's indeed a very, very inspiring book, and the way you have wrote the narrative is very, very interesting. So one of the things, Harish, I found throughout the book is a lot of emphasis on family. You talk about your mother, Reva Ben, father, Shantilal Bai, about your wife, Sheila.
Wow, you know all that.
And how they kind of inspired you. And what I found very fascinating, you talk about your mother and her Jainism tenets of Anekantvad, Aparaigraha, Svikar. And you also talk about your father as being not very religious person. You actually use the word atheist to describe your father. How do you reconcile these two things, and how did it inspire you in your entrepreneur journey?
I'm not a psychologist or behavior expert to really answer the question the way you are asking. But first of all, these principles of Anekantvad or Aparigraha or Svikar, these are more, I would say, humanity principles. It's not really religious. Like if you look at Anekantvad says that there is no absolute truth in the world. Now, one may challenge that, but that's what I learned during my early days. There is no such thing as absolute truth. Now, Ukraine-Russia war, today, for example, Wikipedia is having same challenge. I wish, and I'm going to write to them, they should study Anekantvad of Jainism. Because when Wikipedia's main goal is to be around truth. And today, because of like the Ukraine and Russia war, they're getting multiple stories from different parts of the world. They don't know what the truth is. So how do you digest that multiple values, multiple views of the truth? So that is the principle of Anekantvad. So like when we started NASSCOM, we had fiercely competing individuals from Murthy to Kohli to Azim to whatnot. Now why would they work together on a platform? So again the principle of Anekantvad come in. They are there for the different views. But then how do you bring them together under one umbrella? And that's where the answer is very simple. You find a common ground. In this case, it was a common enemy. We had more than 100+ regulations strangulating the software services industry. So that brought everyone together. The change we brought in was, we brought India first as a first principle. So not as an individual company or the individual's option, but India first as a, take all the decisions around that. And then you started
finding a good common ground around which you...
Correct, exactly. And that's how when you work at that level, you have the best of best brains around you. If their creative juices flow, you can solve any impossible problem. So any industry's tough issues, we could solve very quickly. And we built on that. There are lots of stories about it, how that changed and how that brought in, say, current cultural transformation or brought in high-paying jobs and whatnot.
You also mentioned in the book that you came back to India in the 70s, and India and US difference in 70s was far more than what we see today. And you mentioned somewhere that you cut up your green cards, so you don't have that bridges to go back. Did it ever occur to you in this journey that I made a big mistake, I should just take the next flight and go back, and why did I do this? And the reason I ask this question is, many times as entrepreneurs, you hit a block somewhere. And when you hit a block, it challenges your fundamental conviction. I mean, finally, I want to put food on the table for my family. I want to live a good life. It challenges my conviction. How do you overcome that?
Again, partly again, it is the way you grew up. You talked about my father being an atheist. So I had a religious mother, atheist father. In that various conversations, probably I developed an independent mind to take decisions on my own. And that helped once I decided to come back to India. Now remember, I'm going back 35 years. That time USA was known as the land of paradise, land of honey and money. And everyone who, all my friends, even coming back to India, you're the stupidest person we have seen. You'll be back to USA in 3 months. When we came to India, everyone said, why have you come here? What is in it for you? This country is completely down to dogs, and you want to make your future here. I'll tell you, Sharu Rangnekar, that my very famous management guru, he told me in a similar conference, somebody introduced me, and he said, welcome, Mr. Mehta. You are a first-class citizen in a second-class country with a third-class administration. And yours and my job is to fix it. So that was the kind of environment we were in. And I never regretted, ever. Never, ever. But I do feel, I mean, like this morning I came from Bangalore, and when the plane was landing at the T2 terminal, and you see Asalfa village downstairs, you wonder, where am I going? When is this going to change? So there's a challenge. We have a massive challenge in front of us to get that poverty out of the way.
You describe the entire Satyam episode as the finest hour for NISCOM, you know, something that Pradeep also alluded in his talk, and here we are sitting in a chamber. How do you get all these different people of industry together with a single purpose? Why did it become the finest hour for NASCOM? Can you tell the story to us?
No, okay, the finest hour for NASCOM is for a very different reason. So over the years, we developed certain values. India first, be consensus driven, have a single voice in any decision. You collaborate and compete. Have a sense of ownership at a country level, as if you are a CEO of the country. So bring that culture in the organization. I'll tell you one story. I don't know how much time we have. I can keep telling you stories about it. But that culture of India first, just to give an example, the PMO took 2 delegations, pharma and the IT, to Russia. Again, both the industries have great export potential, so they wanted to help do that. So there were some 300-400 Russian CEOs in the audience. Now, when the IT turn came to speak, IT's president, Som Mittal, he was there. So normally the president of the association would give a presentation. But Som looked around and he saw Harsh Manglik, who is the CEO at that time, was of Accenture India, and also chairman of NASCOM. If the chairman of NASCOM is here, he should give the presentation. Harsh looked around and he saw N. Chandra, which was now the Tata Sons CEO, the TCS CEO at that point. He said, largest IT company in India, he is here, so he should give a presentation. So that made sense. So they approached Chandra. Chandra, would you give a presentation? So Chandra said, of course. But there's one caveat. So what is it? In this presentation, there are 3 of your competitors' case studies. Would you talk about it? But without, just blinking, Chandra said, yes, I'm speaking on behalf of India here. So that's the value system that was inculcated, and hopefully this still will be maintained at NASCOM. Now, with that kind of India first thought level, with the fiercely competing companies, reached a stage where once China wanted to compete with India. And not only compete with India, because they saw the kind of contribution this industry is making, and they wanted to become #1 globally. So they appointed foresters as an agency to prepare a master plan for China to become #1 in technology services. The John McCarthy, who is the CEO of foresters, he said, you cannot compete with India till you create NASCOM equivalent association on your side. He said, I have not seen anywhere in the world, IBM, Accenture, Wipro, Infosys, Genpact, all the small companies sitting together around a table and talk at an India level and try to solve the problem. You cannot beat that industry. So those are the values that were brought in. So when the Satyam thing happened, the first reaction of ours was, we don't interfere in the individual company's affairs. That is, if they do it well, fine. If they don't do it well, they collapse. That's market forces drive that. But here, when we all met, when the Raju's letter came out in public, accepting his fraud, we said, what do we do? Should we let Satyam die or should we save Satyam? So first reaction was, why should we save Satyam? Who are we to get into it? But then we all discussed, if Satyam collapses, Satyam had customers, many international banks, telecom companies like Telstras of the world, who in turn had millions of customers, which were being processed by Satyam. So if Satyam collapses, all these customers would be on the road. And if they are on the road, the India Inc. brand would get such a bad rating that our industry will die. It's very clear to us. Okay, if we do not protect the India Inc. brand at that point in time, chances were that it will get such a backlash around the world. And we had enough enemies around us anyway, to stop, to tell or throw in spanners for our industry. And they have branded us as the cyber coolies, techno coolies, washing diapers, all that, because of low-end work that we were doing and all. So there were enough enemies around us. But then we said, we must save Satyam. So Som Mittal, who again that same time approached Mr. Gupta, who was the corporate affairs minister, and he said, you should save Satyam. So there also, Kamal Nath and others came in. They said, "Baad mein jaye? Why should we save a private company? If the shareholders don't do their job right, if the board of directors don't do their jobs right, if the auditors don't do their job right, who are we?" So then we explained to them why Satyam has to be saved. And it made sense to them. So they came back and said, "Give us 3 days." After 3 days, they called saying that Dr. Manmohan Singh, PM, they all decided that we will go ahead and save Satyam. But to do that, the first step is to take over Satyam. Vinit, you may or may not know all the background, but that's what happened on the other side of Satyam. So, came back and said, but it will take us 1 month. Mr. Babe was the SEBI chairperson. He said, in order to take over the company, these are the legal changes we will have to make. And that requires various committees to approve before the government can take over. But for 1 month, your industry has to see that Satyam survives. Now, again, we all met, and you'll be surprised that we all decided for 30 days, like a moratorium, none of us would go and recruit senior manager proactively from Satyam. None of us will proactively go after any customer of Satyam. Can you believe? Now, normally in marketing, they teach us, this is the golden opportunity for you to go after the cage. You have to behave like a vulture and then take away all the different pieces of the company. That's a normal marketing teaching, which is not right, but that's the way it is. And amongst 30 of us, there was one company, they also say the same thing. Why should not I double my business in 1 month? Why should I give up this golden opportunity? But whatever you call it, collective wisdom prevailed. And then government did get a chance up for a month to, Kiran Karnik came in as a chairman of Satyam, and Deepak Parekh, Damodar, and many others were brought in as a director, who then later on went through the process of auction and so forth, where then Tech Mahindra bought it. So saving that company, going against the natural grain of human instinct, is where all the values which we have built up over the 15 years came and started shining. That's why I call it the finest hour. And that finest hour comes from Apollo 13 mission, where Apollo 13 mission was saved, where the captain said that this is the finest hour. So I borrowed it from there, brought it on.
Absolutely. I think it was indeed the finest hour, where the industry comes together collectively and put the nations before everything else is completely unheard of. So definitely the finest hour. Last question for you, Harish. Where do you see Indian IT industry grow from here? You know, we are becoming a high cost economy. Are we going to see competition from Philippines and Indonesia taking away our industry? Or is robotics or automated coding going to be like a big competition? Where do you see the challenges and opportunities for the IT industry from where we are right now?
How many of you read today's Times Take-Case? Times of India, how many of you read? So if you see the Times Take-Case, is my interview is there. And that probably answers that. But I've said very clearly that this 5.3 million software engineers, they're all trained in the advanced technologies, which has given birth to 60,000 startups in India. If you, in some way you can relate to that. Now, money is available comparatively easily, not at the, what we call the patient capital for long term, but for the today's project, the various parameters that are required to succeed are there. But the most important is all the current advanced technologies are from metaverse to robotics, you talked about blockchain or AI, to all these technologies are exponential in nature. That is the power these technologies have. And then these are software-driven technologies, most of them. And that's where our natural strength is. No country in the world has that kind of strength in advanced technologies, in software, that India has. Now, if you combine permutation, combination of these technologies, have a potential to solve world's toughest problems, from poverty to healthcare to education to whatnot. So if you unleash entrepreneurship, all these problems would be solved or can be solved. So in some sense, I say okay, we are at now an unstoppable engine, and we continue to do extremely well.
So you continue to see a lot of potential and growth in the industry
absolutely.
for sure. Okay.
I would say I have 30 years, I have seen from snake charmers to where we are today. So all these are too small problems to us to see. The industry has grown, the people are so good, so smart. The entrepreneurs are fearless, imaginative. There's just different world now.
Amazing, great. So that was the serious part of our conversation. Now we'll come to the fun part. The fun part is called rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you have to answer whatever comes to your mind without thinking. There are no right or wrong answers, you know. This was inspired by Coffee by Karan. So. Okay, first question. Technology improves productivity at workplace. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, you're an IT man, so you have to say yes. Artificial intelligence will bring an end to human race. Myth or reality?
No, myth.
Myth. You prefer Zoom or face-to-face meetings?
Face-to-face.
Fabulous.
Always, always.
If you had to buy the stock of one company, which would you prefer? Google, Facebook, or Amazon?
NASCOM.
He's an in and out NASCOM man. Huh?
My world is all around.
Okay, last question. Tell us about an entrepreneur you admire and why.
Elon Musk.
And why?
I mean, he's a, what do you call, his independent mind to see beyond. And whether it is Tesla or electric car, or whether it is SpaceX that he does, I mean, amazing. I wish if we can, that entrepreneurship that he has, and he has been gone down so many times from plus $1 billion to -1 billion, again plus, again minus, now 200, now he buys Twitter, God knows what he does. But to me, I love that entrepreneurial spirit of changing the world.
Fabulous. Thanks, Harish. Thanks for the fabulous conversation. You're a great storyteller. Your book is full of amazing stories. So I recommend, if you have not read the book, you must read the book about the growth of NASCOM
I'm a
and IT
great
industry.
storyteller only if all of you go out and buy the book. My objective is to sell 699 rupee book to.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful and interesting session. It was very interactive and I think everybody enjoyed. So as we come to the closure of this lively function, I request Mr. Anand Singhania, President-elect, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to present the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. What an exciting evening it's been. Shri Harish Mehta ji, our chief guest, Shri Vineet Nair ji, our Lifetime Achiever of the Year award, our President Zuza Kurakiwala ji, Mr. Harish Tibriwala, Chairman of the Digital Technology Committee, all the awardees, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I have great pleasure in proposing this vote of thanks at the conclusion of a very exciting, thought-breaking session on digital revolutions, what's happening in the world, and this very elaborate Technology Awards 2021 award ceremony. Data is the new oil, and luckily there's no inflationary pressures on this. Hence, harnessing this digitally continues to be the need of the hour. Luckily, India continues to be the world leader in IT and ITES services, and I clearly see that this sector is going to help us gallop to a $5 trillion economy on the back of digital transformation. First of all, I wish to express our sincere thanks to our chief guest, Sri Harish Mehta ji, for being with us this evening and to grace this occasion to be our chief guest. Who better than him, since he has been a past awardee of the Lifetime Achievement Award, and he's been with us since the very inception of these awards. I wish to congratulate Sri Vineet Nair ji, who has been conferred the Lifetime Achievement Award for his contribution towards the development of the IT industry. In his own words, he has been a kind of magnet to challenges and a restructuring guru, and which has been witnessed, in numerous companies, be it Tech Mahindra, ILFS, among several others, that he has played a pivotal role over his journey over a half a century. So, heartiest congratulations to you, sir. My heartfelt congratulations goes to all the achievers of the day, all the award winners, and the certificate of recognition holders, and wish them to continuously have success in their endeavors and share their best practices with other companies in the country. I'm grateful to the eminent panel of jury members for selecting the winners. That has not only been a tough task, but also for giving their valuable time for the scrutiny process. The jury comprised of Sri Harish Mehta, author of the bestseller The Maverick Effect and founder Onward Technologies, Ms. Paula Mariwala, Managing Director Aurelis Ventures, Sri Pradeep Udas, Senior Advisor KPMG and TIE Global Board Trustee, Sri Samiran Ghosh, Forbes Tech Council Member, Senior Research Fellow and TEDx Speaker, Ms. Sandhya Vasudevan, Independent Director, Strategic Advisor and ex-MD Deutsche Bank, and Sri Sunil Mehta, President and Systems Director, South Asia and Southeast Asia, WPP. I also like to thank Mr. Mukesh Kriplani for his dedicated, he's incidentally CEO of Parik Plus, for his dedicated efforts to do the initial screening of the awards. We are grateful for that wonderful panel that we had, headed by Dr. Pradeep Pense, moderated by him, and the panelists, Sri Binay Topil, Director ODEX India, Sri Rajiv Mitra, CEO and Director Sunfresh, Sri Rajiv Rajda, CIO All Time Plastics, and Sri Vaibhav Palan, Head Digital Products at Wholesome, for the very insightful and interactive panel discussion on digital transformation and MSMEs, which are the heart of the growth story of India. I'd also like to thank Sri Harish Tibrewalji, who really conducted this fireside chat quickly, in snapshots, in a quick fire way, who has been very instrumental in leading this entire award process. Believe me, it was a mammoth task which has been successfully accomplished due to the valuable time given by him, his team members, who have been very devoted, the IMC Secretariat with Ajit Mangrolkar, headed by the Director General, Selby, who has been doing unstinting work at this. I also like to thank profusely all our sponsors, whether it's Ascent Overseas Education, Code Next India, and Hinditron Group of Companies, especially Senior Sona Balaji, who joined us today, for making this award function possible. I thank all the media present here for their support and for their continued coverage. And last but not the least, I'm grateful to all the participants for being here in large numbers and making the award a grand success. We feel truly encouraged by the tremendous response from all the applicants and hope to do this event in a grander, bigger scale. With this, I'd like to end here and thank you once again for joining us and invite you all for cocktails and dinner. Thank you.
May I request all the jury members to come onto the dais for a group photo? All the jury members, the winners also, please wait, please wait. We want a group op. For a group op, all the jury members, please join us on the dais for a group. All the jury members onto the dais.
Later on. After that, I'll be calling. Yes, yes. My person has gone to bring him. There's a chair also for him.
All the jury members onto the dais. Managing committee, IMC Digital Technology Committee members, please come onto the dais.